So with the release of the Zombie Horde structure deck, I thought, hey, is this structure deck worth it? There are some pretty good reprints in here, and the cards aren't bad either. So in this video, I'm going to ask the question, is the Zombie Horde structure deck worth it? In this structure deck, there are some very solid new cards and some very solid reprints. To start off with the new cards, we're going to take a look at Tatsu Necro. Tatsu Necro is a card based off of Tatsunoko, but it's for zombies. Basically, its effect enables you to use any monster in your hand as synchro material, but the restriction is Tatsu Necro has an effect that states you can only special summon zombie monsters while it's face up on the field. So what this means is if you use Tatsu Necro to synchro summon, you can only synchro summon a zombie monster. The other issue with Tatsu Necro is the fact that the materials it uses are banished instead of being sent to the graveyard. This is really terrible for the deck, as for example, if you wanted to synchro summon with Tatsu Necro and Mizuki, the Mizuki are banished instead, which means you don't get to put it in the grave and you don't get to bring back the Tatsu Necro, which absolutely sucks. It's not a terrible card, but I don't see it as a good one. Next, I'm going to talk about one of the two boss monsters in the structure deck. The first one I'm going to talk about is Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. Its effect is as follows. 1 tuner plus 1+ non-tuner monsters. Gains 100 attack and defense for each zombie monster on the field and in the graveyards. When another zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon one zombie monster from either player's graveyard to your field. You can only use this effect on Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon once per turn. So one thing I failed to mention is that this Zombie Horde structure deck is revolved around the card Zombie World and Turrowing Out to make your zombie monsters better. This card relates to that strategy as its effects are heavily reliant on having Zombie World on the field. Even when Zombie World is on the field, however, this card really isn't that great. It gains attack, sure, and sure, it can steal a monster by battle when it destroys a monster by battle if Zombie World is on the field. However, that's really not that great. Why would I ever want to summon Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon and have to commit my battle phase to stealing a monster my opponent controls that might not even be that good, when I can just summon FA Dawn Dragster and get a free negate? Sure, Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon is a zombie, but overall, it's incredibly underwhelming, and it really isn't that good. Plus, when I'm going second, I'd rather just summon something like Black Rose Dragon anyways, in order to blow up my opponent's field, or even better, summon Yazi, and then blow itself up to destroy a card my opponent controls, and then summon Mare for my deck. I would consider summoning Mare much better than stealing an opponent's monster, especially with a deck like Thunder Dragons. First off, this card usually can't beat over Thunder Dragons. And second, they have protection to destruction, which means if I were to attack with Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon into one of their monsters, it could just easily protect itself, which really isn't that good, and overall, I just don't think this card is good. However, the second boss monster of the deck is indeed Doom King Ballard. Its effect is as follows. During the standby phase, if a face-up card is in a field zone and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your graveyard in defense position. You can only use this effect to Doom King Ballard once per turn. Once per chain, when a zombie monster except Doom King Ballard activates its effect, quick effect, you can apply one of these effects, but you cannot apply that same effect of Doom King Ballard again this turn. 1. Negate that effect, or 2. Banish one monster from the field or graveyard. So honestly, this effect is really good in unison with Zombie World. Obviously, this card is meant for Zombie World to be on the field to be good. For example, you want Zombie World on the field in order to revive itself, and then when it's on the field, it's a walking monster negation or removal. But even if it's on the field and you don't have Zombie World on the field, it's not bad. Here is the thing, right? Hand traps are a thing. For example, Ash Blossom and Ghost Bell. These two hand traps specifically, however, are zombie monsters. So if you have Doom King Ballard on the field, you can easily activate the effect to negate either of those hand traps. Or if your opponent Ashes or Ghost Bells, you can easily remove a Thunder Dragon from the field, for example, without targeting. Overall, it's honestly a very solid card. Speaking of Thunder Dragons, one thing I would like to mention is the fact that with this deck revolving around Zombie World, it's actually really good this format. Think about it, if you have Zombie World on the field, your opponent cannot link summon for Isolde, and they cannot fusion summon for their Thunder Dragon fusion monsters. If all monsters on the field are zombie types, your opponent cannot link summon for Curious and Danger FTK, and overall, it's really solid this format against particular decks. But the fact is, this deck is so heavily reliant around Zombie World, how do we get access to that card? Well, fortunately, the structure deck provides a new card that does that. A new card by the name of Necro Old Banshee can banish itself from the field or graveyard in order to directly activate Zombie World from your deck. Obviously, this is very effective at getting your Zombie World as you're playing 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire, 3 copies of Gozuki, 3 copies of Unizombie. There are also other cards that can send zombies to the grave. Overall, there's a lot of access to being able to send this card to the graveyard. Even just normal summoning it is a way to get it live. While it's on the field, it also protects your Zombie World, which is really good. However, that effect really should never come up. The main issue, however, with this card is you cannot discard it in order to get access to your Zombie World. If this card could discard it itself for Zombie World, that'd be so amazing, as you don't need to somehow put it into the graveyard, you just have immediately access. I think if this card had that extra effect, it would be even better. However, it doesn't. It's not bad, it can still get you access to Zombie World, which is great. However, if it had that discard effect, I think this card would be 100% better. The next card I'm going to talk about, and the last monster in this structure deck, is Glow Up Bloom. This card is absolutely amazing. Basically, if it's sent to the graveyard in any way, you can banish it from the graveyard in order to add a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand. However, if Zombie World is on your field, you can easily special summon a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck. Sure, it could just be a 1-up, but that doesn't change the fact that how powerful it is. The deck can super easily get this card in the graveyard, and when it does, you get an absolutely free body. This card gets you access to duking Ballard Rhodes, which is also really good. One niche circumstance that could come up with Glow Up Bulb, but is also amazing support for this archetype is with vampire monsters, because think about it, you can easily special summon any vampire monster from your deck if you're playing Zombie World. Overall, this card synergizes very well with the zombie archetype in general and the vampire archetype, which is pretty cool as well. Glow Up Bloom will see play in this archetype, and I think it's absolutely amazing. The first of 2 spells in the structure deck is Zombie Necronize. It's a pretty decent card. Basically, if you control a level 5 or higher zombie monster, you can take control of a monster your opponent controls. This is pretty good. However, the question is, why would I play this card over something like Mind Control? Mind Control is just overall better than Zombie Necronize. However, Zombie Necronize does have the extra effect of being able to shuffle a banished monster from your banished pile to the deck in order to set it directly from your graveyard. While this might seem really good at first and put it over Mind Control, the issue is this: you can only use one effect of Zombie Necronize once per turn, and only once that turn. What do I mean by this? Well, basically, if I steal a monster my opponent controls, I cannot set it from the graveyard that turn. I have to wait an additional turn for that to happen. So overall, I'd rather just play Mind Control over this card. However, Zombie Necronize isn't bad, but Mind Control is at 3, so I'll play 3 Mind Control instead. The last 2 new cards are Zombie Power Struggle and Return of the Zombies. However, both of these cards are actually terrible. I would not recommend playing them whatsoever. Return of the Zombies, if you really feel like it, is better than Zombie Power Struggle, and I guess you could play it maybe, but overall, both of them are incredibly bad. Especially Zombie Power Struggle. The card is beyond awful, and I don't know why Konami would make this card. While there has to be terrible cards, this card's just so bad for a structure deck. With that, we are done with all of the new cards. However, there are still new cards being reprinted in this structure deck. Shared Ride is an amazing reprint, as it is actually kind of pricey, but with this new reprint it should only be like $2 to $3. Anti-Spell is another crazy good reprint, as it does come up in relevance. Think about it, Anti-Spell completely stops Pendulum. However, you might just want to play Dimensional Barrier over this card against Pendulum, but that doesn't change the fact that Anti-Spell is a really good card. It also stops fast-paced spell decks in slower formats. So if we didn't have combo decks like Danger FTK and Goki right now, Anti-Spell would be able to stop decks like Sky Striker, and most likely will be main deck. Shiranui Solitaire is obviously a great reprint. It makes sense because it's a zombie structure deck. However, that doesn't change the fact that it's an amazing reprint. Shiranui Solitaire gets you access to Unizombie in order to send Mizuki and go for a 1-card level 8 synchro. Shiranui Solitaire is overall a great reprint as it was hyped, and I don't know how much it was before the set dropped. However, I can guarantee you that it was quite a few dollars. So with that, Shiranui Solitaire is definitely a good reprint. Drag Down Into the Grave is also a good reprint as it's been popping back up and down in relevance. It won Gabe Vargas the NEWCQ this year, so that's really good. Drag Down Into the Grave has overall been a great card, might see play in Danger FTK soon, and overall is really good. Lastly, there are other cards being reprinted that I'm not going to mention. However, this structure deck is full of great reprints and value. While this structure deck definitely is not near the level of the Dinosaur or Monarch structure decks, that doesn't change the fact that this is a pretty solid structure deck, and I would indeed recommend it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support me further than just watching my YouTube videos, go down into the description and donate to me through Patreon. This is something that really helps me out. It helps me produce better content for you guys, get better equipment, etc. And overall, it really helps out. If you guys want to communicate with me as well further than just the YouTube comment section, go join my Discord. Again, the link is in the description below. I hope to see you guys there. And with that, I will see you guys next time.